Carolina Panthers sit at 0-1 heading into a matchup against the Arizona Cardinals. We're here to debrief the day after the Carolina Panthers' first loss, take a look at where we are as a team, and prepare to move forward. Let's go.
Brace yourself for the ultimate Carolina Panthers experience. Welcome to Two Growls, One Roar, the podcast that hits harder than a Luke Kuechly tackle. We're diving deep into the heart of Panther Nation, bringing you unrivaled passion, insider takes, and pure gridiron fire. From Wilmington to the cosmos, this is your home for the fiercest football talk east or west of Charlotte.
Welcome in, folks, to another edition of the Two Growls, One Roar podcast. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys have simmered and settled down. Although, as we sit here, I can tell you I listened to WFNZ, Charlotte station, flagship for the Carolina Panthers, and there was a lot of folks calling in today, especially during Kyle Bailey's show this afternoon. Panthers fans are upset, and you don't have to look far, to be honest. You can go out on any social media platform, YouTube, Facebook, X. I'm sure it's on TikTok. I'm sure it's on Instagram. Panthers fans are losing their mind, and I get it. I'm part of the fan base that sits in there and says, what are we watching? How can we as a fan base endure this? How did this David Tepper guy buy the Carolina Panthers and run them into the ground? And no, this session today is not about Tepper. I'm not going down that lane. I just wonder, man, like, how did we get here? That's the things that are simmering in our minds right now as we prepare. And it's another week for the Carolina Panthers to get it right. And I have to tell you, did the Jacksonville Jaguars play an A++ game? No, not really. However, they got the win. They did their job, and they did what they were supposed to do, and they came out victorious. And guess what? When you win in the NFL, or when you win at any level, in any sport, you win games, some of that other stuff goes under the rug. It just naturally does. And yes, you still have to correct stuff. You're still going to want to improve. But when you have a dub in the column, when you're 1-0, you build confidence, things just naturally stack up together. And so now we sit here as fans and we just debate over who are we most mad at. Is it Dave Canales and his lack of preparation? Is it Ejiro Evero? Is it the entire defensive staff? Is there a player that you have in mind? Is it a Bryce Young? Is it a Xavier Legette? Is it Nick Scott? I mean, we could probably name about every player. Is it Austin Corbett and his snaps? There's a lot of guys that we could probably list as we voice our frustrations with the state of where the Carolina Panthers are. It does stink, man. It does stink being 0-1. Folks, I tried to warn, and I hope you guys listen, because I tried to warn you that, hey, this is worst case scenario. What if this happens? And it did. Coming into this, we were like, okay, what if the pass rush doesn't work out? What if the run defense isn't as good as we think it's going to be? We can't get pressure. What if Bryce Young falls off? And what if all those things happen at once, which is what we saw on Sunday? Now, here we are coming out of this game, and if you are a PFF person, I'm not. I don't buy into the grades. That's me. Y'all know my rant. You know my status. That's why I don't incorporate them into the show, because they're bogus. If you are someone that is a football mind and you have watched film, you know the components of breaking down a grade. You have to know the play call. You have to know the assignment. We don't know those things. You're basing this off of an assumption. And yes, generally speaking, you probably could guesstimate it with, 50, 60% accuracy what you see, but we just don't know. With that said, we now have PFF coming out with a grade for Bryce Young having a better performance than Trevor Lawrence, and it just doesn't make sense. Now, Bryce Young's performance was bad. He did have a chance to make some plays. He didn't make them. He didn't help himself. And I hate to say it. I talked about it on the live stream. I'm not one of those, because I know there's folks that don't like Bryce Young. I know there's folks that do, but I'm not going to be one of the ones. We did this last year. We sat through this. We know what happens, the benching. I'm just not there. Like, to me, this is a ride it out situation, barring an injury. We're just going to see what he has. And then for the Carolina Panthers, I think it just will make the decision easier in the offseason for them to decide, do we need a quarterback? Is it another veteran that we want to bring in to actually have a competition? Do we want to look at the draft? I don't know that we're there. Like, I'm not pushing for that, but I think you have to get through this. It is a big season for Bryce Young. I'll continue to emphasize that point. It is. It may not be make or break, but it is big from the fact that the Panthers have to make a decision on picking up his fifth-year option next year in the offseason. That's when that's going to come up. If I was sitting in that position today, I'm not picking it up. I'm not. He, for some reason, cannot figure out week one. Week one is his nemesis, and it's probably more than week one. If you add all of his games together, it's a culmination of way more than that. But week one performance, you go back to his debut against the Atlanta Falcons in 2013, 20 of 38, 146 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Go back to last year with New Orleans. That was a dumpster fire, 13 of 30, 161 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. This year, 18 of 35, 154 yards, 1 touchdown, garbage time touchdown, similar to the Atlanta game, 2 interceptions. It's just, I don't know how you can be that unprepared. And it's multiple facets. It's getting in the play call. It's getting to the line. And Dave Canales addressed that today in his presser. I also understand the nice guy approach from Dave Canales, but a fire has to be there. Accountability. You can be a very nice person and succeed in the NFL. I look at a Pete Carroll. That's probably the best model to look at. He's a nice guy from media standpoint. And you can see him from the clips and videos. We've seen him on the sideline and in practices. Pretty nice guy. I mean, you have the Dave Canales connection between those two as far as like comparing them. And that's what we see. So for me, I don't know, man. The nice guy approach is fine, but the accountability has to be there and it has to start at the top. And you have comments coming out of today's presser with Dave Canales speaking about wanting to get the younger guys playing on the defensive side of the ball and how he wants to address that. Folks, guys, you're the head coach of the team. It's your call about getting these guys out there. You go back and look at the final snap count. I don't know how many of you guys got to see it. I posted it on social media. But when we look at this on the defensive side of the ball, no, I'm not sharing it, but I'm just going to talk you through it. Mike Jackson, 100% of the snaps. Nick Scott played every snap on defense. J.C. Horn, Christian Rose, Boom, Trayvon Merrick. You, of course, had some looks. You got Lathan Ransom in for 9 snaps, Uman Mielen for 8, Nick Scorton in for 18. I don't know. I don't understand not playing in your base package more. Having the nickel is really your starting defense. Evero just doesn't get it, is my opinion. Canales keeps defending him. I think Canales made a big mistake by bringing Evero back. All signs pointed to him getting him out of here. You had the door wide open coming off a historically bad season. You could have brought in your guy, a guy that you wanted to do this. The Carolina Panthers sit here. I do not think we're in a situation where Dave Canales is fired after this season or during this season. The pressure is going to tick up a notch, but I don't think Tepper, like at this point, he's just going to say it is what it is, and he's going to ride by whatever happens and just see where can we go from here. I don't know where we can go from here. If we're being honest, just a terrible performance. We are going to move beyond this, folks. Like, I'm not going to sit here and harp on this all week. I'm already planning the preview of the Saints. Coming off the Saints and the Cardinals, a preview of the Cardinals, but I was just watching the Saints and the Cardinals game. Just coming off of that, and I got to tell you, it was a battle, and the Saints were more competitive than I thought. So I don't know how to measure that up against Arizona. New Orleans had a chance right until the end to tie the game up. They unfortunately couldn't do it. They actually had a pass caught in the end zone. Guy dropped the ball. But Arizona doesn't look impressive. We've had Arizona's number like we just have naturally. And we're going to preview all that stuff in the next day or two. So we'll get the official preview out. It'll be the exact same thing that we did for the Jacksonville game. But like I said, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna work our way in. We've got a lot of questions. Number one, we have some terrible news with Tershawn Wharton missing 2 to 4 weeks. TBD if he's going to be placed on IR. That's going to be up for discussion. So we'll find out where he sits. Ike Ekwonu, the status of him. Is he going to be back into the mix, which we hope? And I don't know. The offense that we saw felt very Frank Reich-esque, and I know some people said that, but I do agree with that sentiment. The offense that we saw this past weekend wasn't it. And for whatever reason, it's just like Bryce Young gets in his head, and I hope he doesn't get into this rut. This is a pivotal game. It is a must-win game. It just is. For the Carolina Panthers, for, just building something, man. I'm not saying at this point that we're talking about a 7-8 win team. I loved to think that the Panthers were creeping into that 8 or 9 win range, and that would be a competitive season. You kind of drop down your expectations a little bit, but things can change very quickly. And from an optimistic standpoint, when you look at this, if they can get a win, they get to 1-1. If they can beat the Falcons, these are big ifs. Don't get me wrong; these are huge ifs. 2-1, not a bad place to be. Of course, looking ahead to New England, so you just got to take it week by week. Coming back 0-2, I talked about it last night. I tweeted about it. 0-2 over the last decade, 9 teams to make the playoffs. It's not a good spot to be in. Losing is not fun, and people are going to. And this was asked today, like, how do you separate what happened last year with what happens today and what happened yesterday and what happens now? It's hard to do, and that's the reason that you're hired as a head coach. But I agree with other folks that also look at Liam Cohen in his first year. He had it buttoned up. They figured it out. I don't know why. It's not even just Dave Canales. It's every coach that comes in here since Ron Rivera. We just cannot figure it out. I don't know if we're cursed. I really don't. I don't know where we sit in the world of just all this pure on-ish. Pre-snap problems were an issue. I was looking through the insights from this game, and I posted one on social media. This maybe will blow your mind, and I find the Arizona Cardinals, I'm probably following suit on this. Maybe we can get some insights. I'm going to try. There we go, insights. So coming out of this game, in Liam Cohen's first game as Jaguars head coach, the offense motioned on 41 of their 63 plays. That was 65%. For an average of 6.5 yards per play. In 2024, the Jaguars motioned on only 48% of their snaps, second fewest in the NFL, averaging 4.7 yards per play, which was the 4th lowest. It's just not good. It is not good. Bryce Young was pressured on 40% of his pass attempts. 40%, the pressure was there. The pressure rattled him. And we saw the missed throws. Hunter Renfrow not being able to get him. You make some of these plays, the 4th down play, which sounds like there was miscommunication on the 4th and goal when it was 4th and 1 on the goal line, whatever, right there. It's a bunch of, it is. It's just a bunch of what could this be? Are we going down the same path? 51% completion percentage, 49 passer rating, 4.4 yards per attempt. These are all the things that we saw in week 1 of his debut, actually his entire first year. It's what we saw last year. Eventually, you are who you are. You can, I don't know that I like this example, but I'll use it. I'll use it personally so it doesn't get too crazy. I was up in weight, not significantly big, but I don't know, creeping up around 200. And I was like, I got to do something about this. So you start trying to eat a little bit better. you start working out, you start running, you start doing the things that you need to do to show improvement. Now, I start doing those things, you're not going to notice it like outward looking at me that, hey, maybe I am progressing forward. Eventually, it's going to show up though. And eventually, you're going to say, oh, wow, you've been working hard. I can see you're losing the weight. All those things are coming together. You're heading in the right direction. Yeah, you lost 5 pounds. I know you look a little bit slimmer. And I think about the Panthers and also Bryce Young. It's like you take that same situation and imagine if you see me eating junk food. You don't see me working out. You see me stuffing my face and sitting on the couch all day and I'm gaining weight or I look the same. Eventually you're going to say, yeah, that's who you are. Like you showed me who you are. I've been watching you for however long. This is how I feel about Bryce Young and this team. And I hate it. It's in a way, it's not fair, but it is fair because every other team seems to have a way. Majority, I know there's some bad teams out there, but we have stayed at the bottom of bottoms. Losing is the culture now. As much as you want to harp on 2015, 2015 is a ghost. It's the past. It's not who this team is. It's not who this team has been in 7 years until proven otherwise. Until you show me you can be above 500 in the month of November, in December. And I'm not saying you have to make the playoffs this year, but my gosh, at least getting closer to being competitive and showing us like, maybe, just maybe, this team at some point is going to figure it out. I don't know. I really do not know. Let's not even talk about the rushing yards. You go back and look at that run. I was on next gen stats for Travis Etienne's run. Missed tackle by Nick Scott. I mean, you still have Nick Scott out there. I don't know why. That play was expected to be a 5-yard gain per next gen stats, and it exceeded that by 66 yards. Terrible all the way around. And yes, if I said it on the live stream, you take away 70, you're still putting up 140 yards on the ground ish, giving up. It's not great. I'm harping a lot on the negatives. I don't understand, and I'm going to get a few positives here, but Dave Canales saying that he was disappointed and encouraged by the team's performance based off of the film, had issues with execution and the fundamentals. Like, dude, you're at the helm. You're the one's got to figure this out. I saw folks that wanted to see more playing time in the preseason. I've seen a lot of things. I don't think there's a wrong answer, to be honest, and I think fans can feel however they want to feel based off of the outcomes that we have seen until we see that improvement. We look ahead, and this is not a positive, but the Cardinals at a 6.5-point favorite already. I mean, it's just, what are we doing? I don't understand how we can get there. We have a mailbag session at the end, by the way. But when we do talk about them bright spots, I do think you have to focus on Tetairoa McMillan. Yes, 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 he is who we thought he is. Speaking of like players showing us who they are, he's going to be really good. In my opinion, great production. I mean, now I'm going to be starting the tracker to see how quickly he can pass Excel stats from last year. Speaking of the bad and the mixture of like where we are, I'd like to see a little more Bryson Tremaine. He got a few snaps. I'd like to see some David Moore. At this point, I don't know that an Excel can have as many. You throw him in the conversation I just had about Bryce Young, you can say the exact same thing for him. We got to see it. And we haven't seen it. So I don't know. It is very, very disappointing to be a Panthers fan right now. Honestly, it's in a way kind of good for me to be. You may not understand it, but the more that I've done this, the more that I have gone to, and I'm not a reporter, so you guys get it, but more shifted the model of how I see and view things. I'm not as emotional, believe it or not, regarding this loss. Like, it is what it is to me. I know Panthers fans, you guys out there are passionate, and maybe you don't have a platform to do all this stuff like I do, and so you're rattled, but it's bad. Tetairoa McMillan, though, I like him. I like the future. We got a lot of question marks. You just do. The absence of Turk, what's that going to mean? Bobby Brown's got to step up. We're going to see more of Ashawn Robinson, Derek Brown. Linebacking core that is just completely terrible. So I don't know. It's just not what we want it to be. I don't buy into it. All right. Actually, we've got 3 or 4, I believe, mailbag questions that we got over here. So, number one, we have how much of Bryce Young's struggles can be attributed to the offensive scheme or poor play calling? I, his struggles are his struggles. I do think there's things that Canales could do, putting him under center a little bit more to help him. But when it comes down to making the decision to run, to pass, where you're going to throw it, that's on Bryce Young. Now, to the flip side of that, you also look at some of the drops, you look at some of the misses, and he himself missed some throws. I kind of split it 50-50. I don't know that I'm going to put I'm not going to put it necessarily on the scheme or the play calling because things were there. And whether it was Bryce Young failing to execute, he only got sacked once, by the way, which isn't bad. Whether it was him failing to execute or the team around him, I mean, that's really the difference. So I look at Dave Canales, I don't think he's a bad play caller. I don't. That's one of the things that I have never said. I know the performance, the offense wasn't great, but I don't think I questioned it. I think it's just the difference that we see this week is no Adam Thielen, no Jalen Coker. We thought those would be out there, but they're not. So next question said, what is the outlook for the Panthers defense, which was statistically one of the worst in the NFL last season and gave up another 200 yards in week 1? I believe Mike Hay of the Charlotte Observer said this is 7 games in a row, giving up 200 yards on the ground. There were 2 other teams kind of in this range, Pittsburgh and the Buffalo Bills, that gave up 180 plus, both of those, and they won, but they have an offense to go with it. I don't know what to think anymore. I really don't know what to think on the outlook of this defense. We said, and Dan Morgan said, he needed to get players in here. We got players. Of course, Turk is hurt, but you decided not to bring in linebackers outside of Roseboom. You decided to go with what you have. You decided to go with what you have at the safety position. You made those decisions. The only bright spot is J.C. Horn. So I don't know what my outlook is going to be. The pass rush is not there, and I kind of just thought this would happen, and that's why you're in conversations and trying to get into Micah Parsons or someone like that. The outlook for this team on the defensive side of the ball is not good right now. A lot can change. Believe it. You think about how bad this team was last year, sacking Mahomes 5 times, being competitive in some of these games. We'll see. I think a lot of Derek Brown's got to happen, and I think the linebackers have to just flip a magic switch that isn't there. I hate to say it. It's just not. I can't stand watching the linebacking core. Question 4. This is looking ahead. Are there any specific player matchups to watch in the Cardinals game, particularly with Kyler Murray against the spread as a favorite? Okay, I'm not really a betting person, but it's I guess Kyler Murray with a career record of 14-19 against the spread. Okay, I don't bet. So first of all, I don't bet. Second of all, going down a side tangent, I don't know how many of y'all saw. I live tweeted at the end of the second half when there was a stoppage in play without an actual timeout. And that thing blew up on there, and so it was like a 7-second. But I'm going down this path because someone said, "Oh, you only posted this because you gamble." Dude, I don't play sports bets. I don't bet. That's another thing I don't do. I don't bet on any sports at all whatsoever, even though it's legal. Let's get back on track. So matchups, I mean, containing him. He got sacked 5 times against the New Orleans Saints. Is there any opportunity to bring him down? Now, some of the sacks were him trying to scramble and run around and do that stuff that he does back there. And it wasn't good. So I'll look for that matchup. Can we get pressure? That's the biggest thing between Pat Jones, DJ Wonnum, whoever, Scorton. What can they do? I feel comfortable in the secondary, but when it comes to actually getting him down. Last one, how will the Panthers offense look to get back on track after its week 1 performance? Who are some players who need to step up? Well, first of all, getting back on track, I would continue to feed Chuba Hubbard as well as Rico Dowdle. Tedro McMillan is your one playmaker. I think the negative of that is that people can start honing in on him because you don't have Adam Thielen, because you don't have Jalen Coker, because Hunter Renfrow is not who I thought he was going to be. Now, hopefully he comes around, but he's definitely not an Adam Thielen replacement, at least right now. David Moore, XL. I mean, XL has to step up. There's no doubt about it. The pressure is there. You cannot continue to be the type of player that he is and make those mistakes down the stretch. I don't know. I really don't know where we sit right now. So I believe that's going to do it for today's episode. A little bit longer for a Monday, a little bit longer for another episode too. Anyways, this is Carolina Dad. Y'all have a good one.